Thank you, and I have just a couple of images for you. Don't know if you can see them yet. No, this is a slide that I sometimes use when talking to policymakers, and it's a bit of a joke actually. But I start with this metaphor of the marshmallow. I wish it were a mushroom. The marshmallow, you know the test, and they know it. Everybody knows it, right? And the question that I ask is, would the governments take the marshmallow right away, or would they wait? Would they put in the extra effort? Would they look at the complexity of things, or would they just go for the fast solution? And the other thing that I do, but I won't do it to you, is that I just throw in their faces really complicated scientific concepts. But just to tell them, just to talk, I'm not going to make that joke with you, but it's to point to the complexity of the world in which we're doing policies, and to say that the unknown unknowns and the known unknowns, those are things that we also need to focus on. And this is just a framework for thinking, I think. This is the point where I start a discussion about things which were mentioned here. John spoke about, I think, research policy, which is something I don't know very well, but what I do like to think about is how to use science to inform policies. So I just took some pictures, and I apologize for the copyright here. I will not use them afterwards, and the image is your own. So I take one quote here on the regulating spaces for conflict. Spaces for conflict which have to be continuously negotiated. And I wonder if this is not actually the role of governments when building policies. And I think the point here was also that science enters into this discussion, but all the other values and stakeholders. And so I took this picture earlier today, thank you. I was very impressed by the presentation, but also about the categories of stakeholders, actors, which have to be at the table of discussion. I'm going to go fast with the other image that I use, and this comes from social innovation. This is a framework for social innovation, but an image that I use to describe actually how the whole policy cycle, the way that we think about opening up and executing policies needs to change or should change. The first point is the issue framing, and this is something that you've been discussing from the point of view of science, but it's very true for policy as well. It's the moment of the debate, the moment before we've established what the problem is, before we've established how to solve it, and what are the ingredients that will then help us now solve it. And much of what you've said here was about this, right? It was about the science that comes into action at the very beginning. And then this is also an iterative process, and you've mentioned this as well. It's a process that needs to be agile, to go back to maturing and to reach, in the very end of the step 7, a change of systems and not just a very punctual problem solving. And then I think these are a few questions that I still had. I think many of them have been touched upon before, so I will not go into details on them, about them. So I will stop here, but thank you.